In a time and place when you can work from anywhere,
two ladies in their mid to late 27s have decided to.
And they're calling it workationing.
Sometimes the ladies have friends come out to visit.
This time, Kate's coming to hang out in Medellín, Colombia.
This broad had the balls to get cholera in Africa.
She also got malaria once and didn't even mention it in this interview.
What does Kate think of Colombia, and will she make it out alive?
I hope so, because her cab's coming in an hour.
This is the Workationing Podcast. All right. We ready, gringos?
We are ready. All of the gringos.
So, Carrie and I are here with my dear friend, Kate.
Hello.
She came to visit me, and we are in Medellín, Colombia. Kate came down for 10 days to try out the workationing life with us down here. And we've had a really fun week, have we not?
Yes, we have. I mean, fun. I don't know if that encompasses everything.
Fun was had.
Fun was definitely had.
There was definitely some fun that was had.
all the fun that was
By
had.
all.
See.
All of the fun by all.
Some other things crept in there, too.
Just a few.
As it does. As happens in Medellín. But mostly fun. So, let's just jump right into this, shall we?
Sure. Let's do it.
So, you are new to the digital nomad life. You are sticking your toe in.
See.
So, what is it about that lifestyle that appeals to you?
Well, this may be the most basic reason, but I legitimately hate waking up in the morning. So I pretty much just hate waking up in the morning and having to get ready and spend an hour and a half in traffic to do a job that's not really my own. So I figured let's just throw all that to the wind for 10 days and see how it goes. Get a little more international flair in there.
So just to give people a little bit of an idea of what your day looks like now, because you do have a non-remote job.
So my job is actually pretty badass. I test video games for a living and other virtual reality and augmented reality programs and applications, because who doesn't love dipping out of reality every now and then?
See.
So yeah, I pretty much just spend several hours playing games and playing with programs, and then I spend several weeks in a cubicle writing reports about said programs.
So, and you got to do a little bit of work while you were here. So
Yes.
how did you convince your boss to let you try this workationing thing?
I was actually legitimately terrified. There was a lot of sweat involved. There was a lot of anxiety, maybe a little vodka thrown in there. And I took the easy way out and I emailed her, and I was like, listen, so how do you feel about me working remotely for a few days? And then I kind of left the location out of it. I just said remotely, and then I would tack on a vacation at the end.
P.S. from Colombia.
P.S. I'm in cartel country.
So what is the coolest place that you've ever worked from?
Worked from? That would be here. I mean, otherwise it's a Starbucks or Mustard Seed.
Yes.
That's or my apartment.
The mustard seed, for those of you who are listening and don't know what the mustard seed is, I recently discovered the mustard seed when Kelly introduced me to it in Akron, Ohio. And the mustard seed is just, it's one of my favorite places. It's a very nice restaurant where they give you wine at cost, which wholesale prices on the wine, am I correct on that one?
Yeah, well, retail prices.
Retail prices on bar wine. Good deals all around. Organic food, many kale salads that they have there.
Many.
You know,
many.
gringos love a good kale salad.
And all the options.
Salad dressing options. I love those.
Vegan options, gluten-free options,
So many.
real dairy options.
So what is your best travel experience that you've ever had?
Best, how do you really define best? Like most exciting?
You can
Or
define it
most-
however you want.
Okay. So I think the most, I guess, rewarding travel experience that I've ever had, which would make it the best, was the first time I ventured into the rural jungles of Ghana.
Yes, Ghana.
Which for those of you who don't know where that is, it is in the western portion of Africa. It's really a treat.
So Kate has run for a few years now a nonprofit that take nursing students into the jungle to do wound care in Ghana.
Yes.
So what made you start doing that?
Well, I started off as a nursing student because I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. And a phone call with my mother, she decided, oh, well, you're smart. You have a great personality. You'll make a great nurse. And you'll have a job at the end of it, because that's really all we're really concerned about. It's not like what's going to kill our soul. It's what's going to pay the rent that will then entrap our soul. So that all made sense to me. And I was like, sure, let's do it. So I got into it, absolutely hated it, miserable. And somehow in that time, I became president of the honors nursing group, because why not? And it was pretty much a club, right, of a bunch of honors kids where we got together on the first Tuesday of every month to just eat wings and complain about how much we all hated nursing. So seeing the business opportunity, as it were, I was like, okay, well, there's a lot of talent here. There's a lot of energy and willingness here. Why don't we just harness that and just take these kids somewhere awesome so that we hate our lives less? So next thing you know, over spring break, I'm taking myself and 5 other nursing students into the jungle. Apparently, they were all down. We had no contact on the other side. I Googled 90% of everything: how to get visas, how to apply for visas, how to pay off the embassy to actually get your visa, and how to do it for 5 other people.
Right.
All those fun things.
Out of curiosity, how much does it cost to pay off an embassy to get a visa?
Well, it really depends on where it is. So if you're talking about the embassy in Ghana, it's not nearly as much. But so you go to New York State, right? Okay, so for example, it also depends on the level of emergency. So we had a student who got a passport, got a visa, sent it in, because you have to send your passport in to actually get the visa, and then they send it back to you with the visa inside of it, right? And we had one gentleman who did all of that. It was great, and then we find out that his passport was going to expire while we were there, so he wouldn't have been able to get back into the United States. So we had to get into a car and go to the embassy in New York, right? 14-hour road trip, kill me. And to expedite the visa, we were flying out like 48 hours later. And to expedite the visa, we had to pay them $250 under the table, in addition to $300 to expedite the visa. So
Wow.
that was an expensive visa.
And this was in the U.S.
This was in the U.S.
My goodness.
This was in the U.S.
So what was your worst travel experience?
Probably the jazziest travel experience I've ever had was probably when I managed to contract cholera.
That's
in the
so
jungle.
special.
Because you really can't contract cholera anywhere else except for the jungle.
And what was that experience like for you?
That experience was a rebirth of body, mind, and soul.
Can you tell me when you first got the I'm not feeling so good, maybe this might be cholera feeling?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so there's a little bar in the village, and by bar I mean it was a quarter of a shipping container, like a Coca-Cola shipping container, that they cut into 4 pieces, and 1/4 of this is the bar with a mini fridge, right? They call it the friendly spot. It was so cute. You got many a drunken nights there. And after a very long day of work, we everyone decided that they were going to go have a drink at the friendly spot. And I was just like, I was feeling kind of queasy, a little tired, worn out, because, I'm in charge of all these gringos. And they were just having the time of their lives. I just could not keep up, and I was just, shoot. So I called my mom, and I was like, I don't know really what's going on. And I'm sitting in the middle of this compound, and there's goats and chickens walking around me. It's getting dark. And I remember being on the phone with my mom, like, Mom, I don't feel good. Followed by, Mom, I just shit my pants. I literally just shit my pants. She's like, are you okay? I don't know. So at this point, we didn't actually have bathrooms, right? It was an outhouse in the back of the compound. So you had to walk like half a block to even get to the bathroom. So by the time I got there, I had vomit all over the front of my shirt. I was throwing up all over the livestock. We're not even going to talk about the condition
you threw up on livestock.
I mean, they didn't really seem to mind.
But they minded a little.
That's next time. We can talk about that next time. But yeah. So that was I knew I was going to be sick. And then I was in that little outhouse for probably a solid hour and a half. Every probably 5 minutes, something was coming out of me.
How long does it take to get over cholera?
Well, it's one of those things. It depends, because if you don't get immediate medical attention, you pretty much die from it.
Well, how long did you have cholera?
Well, I had it I was unconscious for 2 days after the night that I was admitted into this jungle hospital. And I had several IVs in me, and Lord knows what happened in those 48 hours. And I'd rather not know. But they pump you full of antibiotics, get an IV in you. That's because it's the only way. And you're still puking and shitting your pants.
What does a jungle hospital look like?
All right. So imagine a circus tent, right? And
this is a tent situation.
Yeah, kind of. It's a little
right.
more permanent. Maybe more like a park pavilion. Okay, so like a park pavilion with just cots down the way. And there are no bathrooms. I got a bed sheet like with an actual like bed because I was a white person and they treat you like a celebrity there. And but there are no private rooms. There was no bedding.
So what do you do when you have cholera in a hospital with no bathrooms?
You just shit your pants. You just go. You just go. Yeah. And then they the way that it works is they don't have nurses or anything. So if you don't have friends or family or someone to come in and take care of you, you're just shit out of luck. Like you're done. And that's a big reason why death rates are so high, is because there's no actual like care, essentially. The hospitals are pretty much just places where you go to die. But where we were staying, they had ties to not a nunnery, but what is it?
A convent?
A convent, right. So they brought in the Ghanaian nuns to take care of me. And let me tell you, there is nothing more special than getting a bed bath by a Ghanaian nun. She was just real treat.
Lovely.
She was just wiping everything down. I felt like an infant child.
That's lovely.
But you probably would have rather had the Ghanaian nun than one of your students that you brought out there, right?
Absolutely. They just got out. They were like, bye. Like,
they just left you?
No. Well, it was pretty much I was there pretty much by myself, right? But I always had someone from the compound that we were staying at, like, around. So whether it was the nun or the organization's organizer leader that we were with was there. But there were many a time when I was alone, and that was absolutely terrifying.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this might be redundant at this point, but I'm going to ask anyways. What was your scariest travel experience?
Well, apart from that and the whole like medieval healthcare that they practice that we don't practice in the States for the sake of like dying, there was a time, the third time I was there, where so when you're going between villages, which we did often for the programs that we were doing, we had to go through a lot of military checkpoints.
Oh, yeah.
And we're talking about like AK-47s on lock all the time. It's just absolutely terrifying. And the way that Ghanaians talk to each other, it's just in general, it's not like a casual conversation. It's, I'm going to yell at you, and then we're going to smile at the end, shake hands, and we're going to walk away. Like, that's just the way that it sounds up. But to someone who's not used to it, it's absolutely terrifying.
Oh, because it seems like a fight is about to start?
Absolutely. You're like, what is going on? So next thing you know, we're at a military checkpoint, and Adem, who is our leader at that point, our fixer, as you will, was like, we need to get out of the van. And I was like, why are we getting out of the van? I've got 10 girls back here and like myself. What is going on? And so at that point, I didn't really know what to do. So of course we just got out of the van, and they walked us over to this building, and there were 6 or 7 of these military officers, and then Adem was joking about marrying us off, and they wanted to get selfies with us with their big guns. And then next thing you know, they're like, well, we're not going to let you through if you don't do X, Y, and Z. And then it started escalating really quickly. Like, they needed money. They needed U.S. hookups. They wanted all of these things. Like, it was just unreal. And I'm like going to Adem, like, what did you just get us into? Like, we are literally inside of a hut. I don't know if it's locked. I don't know if it's whatever, but you're surrounded by the most firepower I have ever seen in my entire life. So luckily it was all harmless. We slipped them $200, and then we ended up leaving. But I had no idea it was going to end that way. It was absolutely terrifying.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
That's horrifying.
Quick question on that. Did you have a conversation with your fixer dumb afterward and say, what the fuck, and never again?
Let me tell you, since then we actually had a falling out after that, because the first trip was great. The first couple trips were great. And then this last one, we don't know what the hell happened, but we were put in so many risky situations. They were like, he would be taking half my team to a village to do a community health project and talk about how it's all guerrilla warfare, but don't worry, they know who they're trying to kill. You're not on their target list, but you don't want to be there after dark. And then we all get to the compound and everyone's sitting down for dinner except for that group. And I'm like, where are these people? And he was like, oh, they're still there. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean they're still there? And he was like, well, I'm going to go get some stuff and then I'm going to go get them. I'm like, no, I'm going to get in the car with you and we're going to go get them right now. Like, game over. I don't care if there are people that still need to be seen. It doesn't matter. Like, you don't take my girls. Like, they don't speak the language. There's no one that speaks English at this point in the village that they were in. There was no way for them to contact anybody. And they just leave them there. Like, whatever. So anyways, we actually no longer work with that particular fixer in organization just because it was absolutely reckless and absolutely unacceptable.
Yeah. Gosh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pulled the plug on that real fast.
So what is the weirdest, this is food related, what is the weirdest food you've ever eaten, the best food you've ever eaten, and the worst food you've ever eaten while traveling? You can start with weirdest, maybe.
See, I don't know if it's just my own perspective, but I'm willing to try anything once, and I wouldn't really call it weird. Okay, so I mean, you have fish, right? But you eat the whole fish. Like when you're in Ghana, you don't waste any part of it. So you're eating feet of chicken, beak of chicken, all the parts.
How crunchy is beak of chicken?
It depends on how it's cooked, how it's prepared.
Did they deep fry that?
They
put it in
actually
soup?
just about everything is deep fried over there. Everyone, you wonder why they all have hypertension. It actually makes it really quite good, a little crispy.
I've never actually wondered why Ghanaians have hypertension before.
Right.
But now I know.
Right. Absolutely.
It's all that deep fried chicken beak. Gotta lay off it.
I mean, it is quite good though. So they're onto something. Definitely onto something. Okay, so worst thing I've ever eaten, whatever it was that gave me cholera.
Yeah.
What that is, we haven't really quite pinpointed what that was. We have some guesses.
Is cholera foodborne?
It is waterborne. So in Ghana, none of the water is clean. So you can't really, you don't eat anything unless it's out of a peel. You don't eat anything that's been washed. So anything fresh, like that was probably the hardest part, is going a month without having a real vegetable. That was tough. But yeah, we had this, it was like a salad type thing. And of course our fixer, retrospect, this fixer was just not on point at all. And he brought us salad and we were all so excited, but I was the only person who got it. And here we find out it was actually travel hack for you, right? So I had a history of stomach ulcers. I was on a lot of Nexium, which is a beta blocker, so you don't get heartburn. However, it drastically reduces the acid in your stomach, which is your primary defense against things like cholera, things like other like foodborne illnesses, food poisoning, all that fun stuff, right? So if you take that away, you're just like, come and get me. Come and get me. So if you plan on traveling internationally or to some different places, just lay off the Nexium for a good 3 weeks before you go. It'll be the best thing. Just take your Tums. You'll survive.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
that is a good tip.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Okay, so what are your favorite bucket list items, both done and undone? Like, what's your favorite thing that you've done, and what would you still like to do?
I blessed the rains in Africa. That was number one.
That's lovely. Did you have a special blessing?
No, there was some crossing. There was a little bit of a
little rain dance, maybe?
There were many a rain dance. Half naked rain dances.
Nice.
It was glorious. So that was probably my biggest one. My bucket list is kind of like a rolling project. So I don't really know that it's on it until I've done it. So like coming here, that was on there. I didn't know it until I got here.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this is bucket list worthy. Let's do it. Let's do it.
It's pretty great. What do you think of the city? What do you think of Medellín?
Listen, it is the most beautiful and terrifying place I think I've ever been.
Yes, I would agree with that.
It's adventurous with a little Latina flair.
What makes you afraid about this place?
Well, I think the biggest part, and honestly, you get that anywhere, is just when you don't speak the language and you're not really familiar with customs. Like, I could be pissing someone off in a way that could be very dangerous and I wouldn't even know it. So it's just the unpredictability of it all. But I guess you get that just about anywhere.
Yeah, I would agree with that. What's the last conversation you had with somebody that made you change your mind about something?
Honestly, Kelly, I feel like you and I have had a lot of conversations about life and where it's going over many a mustard seed retail wine.
Yeah, it's just many.
And just when you mentioned that you were going to embark on this journey, this lifelong, life-changing journey of yours, it was truly inspiring, and it kind of forced me to think about my own life and where I am, and this idea of status quo and why it's just not for everybody. And so, yeah, here I am in Medellín.
It's your girl. I'm glad. That makes me happy. Mm-hmm. If you could do one thing to change the world, what would you do, and what would the impact be?
That's hard, because this is just a very pessimistic, different view on changing the world, is this idea of like having worked in nonprofits, having kind of developed the program in Ghana and whatnot. You quickly learn that you may think that you're changing the world, but they may not be having it. They actually might be using you. They might be embezzling cash, because this is all things that have happened. So honestly, I think the biggest thing that I can do personally, it's not on a global scale, but get rid of the God complex. Get rid of this concept of like, I need to change the world. It's just, I need to be the best person that I can be, as cliche as that sounds, and just be as authentic as possible. And I'm going to start impacting and influencing the people around me. And you have no idea how that is going to ripple into the rest of the world.
Yeah, I really like that. That's really nice.
Yeah.
Now that you have workationed with us, what are your thoughts on this whole setup?
Honestly, I cried a little bit last night when I was gazing out the window, just because it's over. Mm-hmm. Just, it's amazing how when you don't have to worry about waking up and putting yourself together as society says that you need to do, and then getting in your car and driving an hour, which is your life, an hour of your life gone that you're not getting compensated for.
On the return trip, too.
And so like you're looking at like 3 hours of my day, of my very limited day, just wasted and not paid for. And that's not including hair and makeup, which honestly I've pretty much stopped doing anyways. And I've got many a lecture about my appearance.
At work?
At work. Oh, absolutely. And I'm like, listen, I'm in a fucking closet all day. Like, I don't really see anyone or talk to anyone. Like, why is this a big deal? Anyways. So being able to just kind of wake up, make a cup of coffee, go at your own pace, look like however you want. Like, I can do the exact same job, and it's exponentially easier. I feel exponentially more relaxed and more willing to actually do it, just because the time before I log on and the time I log off, 100% of that is mine. It's all mine. So I love that. And it's just, my soul feels happier, if that's a thing.
It's a thing.
Right. I mean, these
confirmed.
Right. These views, and then just being surrounded by so many exciting and new things. It's not just like, well, I'm going to go home and then I'm going to sit on my couch and watch Netflix because there's nothing better to do.
Well, and we had some fun this week, too.
We had a blast.
Introduced you to some real characters, did we not?
All the characters.
Just some
I
real
do love a
characters.
good character.
We went and played Tejo, which we'll talk about more on another podcast, but is a Colombian... It's kind of like Colombian cornhole for our Midwestern listeners out there. Only instead of beanbags, you're throwing rocks. And instead of throwing it at a hole, you're throwing it at packets of gunpowder that explode when you hit them.
So delicious.
It was so fun.
It was so great. I found out that I'm really bad at Tejo. However,
that's okay. I don't think it's going to come up a lot in life, to be honest.
The beer, though, on point.
Yes.
So good.
We danced to Colombian folk music.
We did. We did dance to Colombian folk music. That was just something else. Let me tell you.
So we had a really... So on top of, we worked really hard. You can confirm. You can be our,
absolutely.
be our witness.
Absolutely.
We stay working. But
All the work.
But when we're done working, we do have, there's just a wealth of entertainment around here.
It doesn't stop. Party just does not stop. And I was not nearly as distracting as I thought it was. Like, you come up here, and I don't know if it's just where we are and how high up we are, but it's just it's so easy to remain focused on what you're doing. And then you kind of go down and mingle with the rest of the world. And it's just right there for you to seize at any moment.
And you liked it enough, you're planning to hook up with us again, right?
Absolutely. I'll be back. This time, hopefully, I won't still be stuck in a corporate job.
Hopefully.
We'll see. That's the goal.
So this has inspired you to break out of that?
Oh, absolutely. And I pretty much knew that before I got started, but I didn't realize to what extent. So we'll see. We'll see what these action items are. We might need a part 2.
Amazing. Well, it's been just a delight, my love. I'm so glad that you were here.
Well, thank you for putting up with me for 10 days.
It was easy.
Oh, right.
It was really easy. You didn't get cholera. I didn't have to give you a sponge bath.
No, you did
no
not.
dengue fever involved.
Listen, Carrie. I'm sure we can make that happen next time.
I'd rather not. I'd really rather not.
I would have done the sponge bath without the cholera.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Kelly's just volunteering to sponge bath you.
I accept.
Well, we gotta hurry because your taxi's coming to get you to the airport in an hour.
This is true. This is. Don't remind me.
Sponge.
I'm pretty sure I have one in my bag in case of emergencies.
Oh, girl. All right. Well, we gotta go.
Travel essentials.
All right. Well, I think we did it. Until next time, friends.
Hasta la vista.
Bye. This has been another episode of the Workationing podcast. If you like what you heard here, make sure to like, rate, subscribe, and leave us a review on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, or wherever else on the internet you're hearing this.
You can also go to workationing.com. That's workationing.com.
Sometimes the ladies have friends come out to visit. Is that good?
You just made it sound so fucking sinister. Should I kill us in our sleep or something?
I was trying to make it dramatic.
It's good. It's really good.
Spicing it up.
It's good. I like this. I like that heat.
So I dug deep for that one.
It's good. It's good. It's solid gold.
Okay, good.